Jefferson. Steve Kerr said something about LeBron James that might surprise you. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes.
Steve Kerr said that LeBron is the best athlete to ever walk the planet. Do you agree with Mr. Kerr?
Well, this is what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Yes, from this standpoint, I think basketball players are the best athletes on the planet. Start there.
Okay, no bias. Objective opinion.
Objective opinion. I think they're the best athletes on the planet. And I think, look, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, like best basketball player, but as an athlete, like LeBron is physically stronger than all of those guys. So I think Steve Kerr has a little bit of validation. Mind you, this guy also played with Michael Jordan. So all you Bron people that hate on him, like, oh, Richard, you're just saying that because he won you a chip. That ain't it.
Oh, no, you're just saying that because he won you a chip.
Moving on. Pretty much saying that.
The Blazers are in trouble. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes.
They lost last night to the Raptors, and Dame had 9 points. This isn't good. They've lost 6 of 7, and their one win came in overtime. What's going on with the Trailblazers?
I don't know, because you can point at, they don't have Nurkic yet, but they don't have a hole in the middle. They got Whiteside that's blocking shots, rebounding, doing some things in there. You know what? Maybe it's a hangover from last year. It's hard to play all the way till June and then show back up and with that same type of fire. So maybe this is a little bit of a hangover.
That 4-8 is going to turn into like 10-10 before you know.
I think if they have proven long term that they're going to figure it out.
Beat the Warriors, and they did so without Anthony Davis. Kyle Kuzma played well. He's been playing well lately. Yeah. One thing I want to talk about the Lakers, though, is their defense.
Yeah.
They are pretty solidly number 1 in defensive efficiency in the entire league. Do you think they can keep this up?
I think they can keep up a top 5 defense, right? I think there's going to be some injuries. There's going to be some. That's just over the course of the season. I think Utah is a really good defensive team, but with the Lakers, their size, you're talking about they play. Dwight Howard and Anthony Davis together, and JaVale McGee. You're talking about 2 of the biggest guys.
Kuzma's tall, Danny Green's tall, LeBron's LeBron.
LeBron's 6'9", Kuzma's 6'8". Like, these guys are huge, and then you bring in Danny Green or Avery Bradley that are little. So it's like the way they rebound the ball, the way they get second chance points. There's a lot of things that they bring to the table that are just problems, right? And so on the defensive rebounding side, which is a big defensive component, how many offensive rebounds are you giving up? They're one of the best in the league.
Well, one of the problems they do have is the health of Anthony Davis, who, after having nagging shoulder and rib problems over the last few weeks, you see him there not playing in the game.
Yeah.
So, Richard, what do you think about this nagging injury? Do you think this is something that's going to continue, or should he just sit out like 3 or 4 games to kind of get on the other side of it?
There was a big stat, like if you and I don't have the exact
Don't worry, we don't do exact numbers.
Okay, well, who gives a damn? Okay, well, his first 5 games, you look at the free throw numbers that he shot versus the last 5 games. Like it was like 55 free throws in the first 5 games, and then the next 4 games he had shot like 17.
When you
have
a rib problem, you're not exactly trying to bang against people.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying. Those nagging injuries can affect how you play, and it's like this is not a load management where we're making this up. Just look at it. He's not being nearly as aggressive. His numbers might look good, but remember there was a game where he hit 20 free throws. He had like 15 and a quarter, 17 and a quarter. So I think to get him rest, to get him back to that aggressive nature, because that's what they're going to need. Yes. Ultimately, he is the one advantage that no team can match up well with Anthony Davis, right? You go against the Clippers. They got multiple bodies to throw at Bron, and they can do that all damn night, right?
Yep.
Different sizes, everybody. They got a lot of bodies to throw at him. Anthony Davis is a one that...
Zubac?
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be your...
Montrez is a little short for him.
Yeah, and for a lot of years, Bron was always your ace in the hole, right? He was always like, well, no one's going to be able to stop Bron. Well, they have enough bodies similar to the Warriors did when they were going on their runs. They had a lot of bodies to throw at Bron. So Anthony Davis is the one guy that you're going to want to be 100% healthy so he can be as aggressive as possible.
I'm going to say something you won't believe about the NBA.
Okay, tell me.
The Grizzlies and Hornets game was pretty good last night.
Ja special.
Yes, Morant continues. This isn't a fluke.
No.
Night after night, Morant
look around the back.
does his thing, and they finish too. Like, Morant, not only did he score 23 and had 11 assists, it was the end of the game. Look at this. This is a game winner. Fumbles it a little bit.
With the
up
left.
on the whole team. Around the rim it finishes.
With the left.
I did not expect this from him. What have you seen from Morant?
Well, he played at a smaller school. You knew his athleticism was there. You knew he could drop dimes, but you want to see it against bigger, stronger, quicker, higher level guys, and he's done it. But he plays with an excitement. And I think, like, when you look in Memphis, that crowd, the community, they love some Ja. And so it's great to see how he's playing, the way his teammates are supporting him. He's special, right? And it's like we want to see guys and we want to see people like be special. Trae Young, special.
Yes.
Right? Like you're just seeing it's like, oh, we don't see this all the time.
I'm glad you went down this path because as a fan, as someone who really cares about the league, like there's a little bit of a letdown when Zion Williamson isn't out there.
Yeah.
You always love a new rookie.
Yeah.
And then Ja Morant has kind of like made up for that a little bit with his play so far. Richard, we have a segment.
Tell me.
Welcome to Jalen and Jacoby. In for Jalen Rose, we have Richard Jefferson.
So good to be here.
Very quickly, is it true that you don't like being called RJ?
Is it true?
I call you RJ all the time.
No. This is the thing. No one. I've never introduced myself as RJ. No one in my family or friends call me RJ.
Oh, it's probably just that gigantic weird tattoo you have on your shoulder that says RJ. That might have something to do with it.
Agreed. I've told the story a million times, and I just get tired of correcting people. It doesn't bother me.
I will call you Richard.
That's fine.
Or Dickie.
So much. Yeah.
Crazy game last night in Houston. Kawhi and the Clippers, still without Paul George, faced the Rockets and James Harden. And James Harden was masterful once again. 47 points, 17 in the fourth quarter. Richard, so many are critical. So many are critical of his style of play and the Rockets' style of play, yet they keep winning games. How many wins will it take before people start realizing that this works?
Well, it depends. You go back to the Suns, right? When Steve Nash won his multiple MVPs, and there was there was a couple of times where I felt like they had a chance to win the title, but ultimately the defensive juggernauts slowed them down. That's why Steve Nash had never been to a finals, right? He was a great scorer. They had tons of weapons. There is a similar coach there. And if you look at it, so yes, this does produce points. It is fun to watch, but it's very similar to shooters winning an NBA championship. That's why Charles Barkley famously said a shooting team, a three-point shooting team has never won a championship. Where the game has changed, the game has evolved. Golden State proved that fact wrong, and I think Houston, in order to prove that D'Antoni's system and we're just going to try and outscore you, can win a championship.
So I was watching this game last night with some friends, and James Harden is just doing things I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Like the sidestep backs and then getting to the lane and everything he does. And
deep three with ease.
We've seen teams try to double him, and they did last night, and he would break it. They've seen teams shade him to the left, seen teams let him drive the lane. Like, what is the best defensive tactic to try to slow down this warlock of the basketball court?
I don't know if there is one. I want to say like he is.
Is that doubles right now?
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. Especially with the way the rules are, so you can be a lot less physical. And he is a master at drawing fouls.
That's a good point.
Left-handed, so he's got a little bit of an awkwardness to him that players aren't used to seeing. You're afraid of fouling him on a three-point shot. This is similar to when Kobe Bryant was going through that stretch where he was just scoring everything at any 81s and 40 points and 15 straight games, like that type of stuff. I don't think there is a way to guard him, right? But I do believe that when the game does slow down, when the game does change in the postseason later in the year, that's where you've seen those struggles. And it's just like any great player until you do it on the biggest stages. And they've been to the postseason. They've been to a conference.
You don't have to win the championship to be a success.
That's not true. That's not true. And I mean it from a standpoint of like, I'm not comparing myself. What I'm saying is like, we're comparing him to the all-time greats. We're comparing him to the Michael Jordans, to the Kobe Bryants, to the LeBron James. Those are the people he's in the same conversation with. He's up there with Wilt Chamberlain numbers.
Yes, he's earned it with his performance.
Yes, so ultimately, once you get to that stratosphere, the next thing we need to see is it generate championships. And I think that's what his goal is. But that's where I think some of the critique comes in.
Well, there was some more critiques being thrown around last night because Pat Beverly, famously an agitator, known as a great defender, is wildly accepted as a great defender, except for a gentleman named Russell Westbrook who disagrees. Let's listen to Russ.
Pat Bev trick y'all, man. Like, he play defense. He don't guard nobody, man. Just running around doing nothing. It's not. As you've seen, what happened, 47. All that commotion to get 47.
Pat Bev tricked us. Pat Bev tricked us into believing he's a good defender. All he does is run around. It is worth noting, while James Harden did have 47, he was 0 for 6 against Pat Beverly. So, is Pat Beverly just running around? Did he trick us? Or is he legitimately one of the best defenders in the league?
I'm going to say both.
I'm going to say both. Oh, hot take.
I'm going to say both. I'm going to say both. And this is why. A lot of the agitation is just to like get you out of your game. So that's not really defense, right? Like he's not this great like perimeter defender. But when he's locked in, when he's just playing good on-ball defense, he's one of the best in this league. So it is both. He is tricking you with all the agitation and all the hype and all the loudness. And there's some Draymond Green in it where it's like he's going to get away with saying more and doing more because he plays like that all the time. But ultimately, he is a good defender. And don't forget, there was a little bit of history with him and Russell Westbrook.
There's a lot of history between the two.